Hey everybody, Coach Mel here. Welcome to the Mel Fit podcast, where we talk all things health, fitness, and lifestyle. You heard the intro. I'm an online health and fitness coach. Glad you are either listening today or you are watching, and I hope that you are moving your body, walking or running or biking or doing something active. So this is going to be a good one today. We've been trying to produce a new podcast every week without fail, no excuses, and B, making the podcast about 40 minutes to an hour max, so that you could listen intentionally and allow yourself that time to absorb some information, be inspired, but also if anybody on here listens to podcasts while working out or walking, just know it just makes things go by so quickly and you don't even realize all of a sudden you've walked 2 miles or 3 miles. So today's title is why weight loss is a total mind fuckite. How'd you like that, Mom? I cleaned up my act, okay? You know exactly what I mean. Josh and I have talked about this many times, what a mind fuckite weight loss is. And we're going to go into a bunch of different kind of little rabbit holes today. And I think that everybody's going to really be able to A, relate, and B, kind of get something out of this. So know that the reason that I'm able to speak on this topic, because it's also been a mind fuckite for me as well. So it took me a long time to get past that. And I think that the saying it's all mental is so relevant in the forefront of fitness. It can make or break you, what your mind is doing, what your mind is thinking. If you think you can, you can. If you don't think you can, you can't. So it's 2022. Health and fitness is a billion-dollar industry. Even one of the wealthiest women in the world, Oprah Winfrey. What is she, Josh? One of the top 5 wealthiest women in the world, probably? Top 10 at least in Forbes magazine. Although all these front runners keep coming up with the e-commerce businesses and probably end up pushing her down the line, huh? I'm sure at one time she was top 5. So it's 2022. I do a lot of speaking. I've done some guest speaking. I would love to do a TED Talk. And I always use this as an example that Oprah Winfrey's one of the wealthiest women in the world. She could pay somebody to make all her food, feed it to her. My God, she could have her jaw wired shut if she wanted to, which didn't Kim Kardashian do that once? Yeah. Does that sound familiar? I mean, she could do anything she wanted to help, as far as accountability and all the excuses that normal people have. She doesn't have those excuses because she has an endless amount of money. So basically, she can't figure out how to lose weight and keep it off. Josh and Peter, my friend Peter Green and I, and Keith and Sharon, Josh's mom, we did kind of a mini commercial, and we were reenacting the episode where Oprah Winfrey showed her fat loss by using a red radio flyer wagon filled with cow's fat. And in the wagon was the amount of fat. Do you remember how much she lost, Josh?
Was it like
20? I can't remember. Anyways, if you YouTube that, Oprah's episode with the wagon of fat, you'll see it. But why this is so relevant to what we're saying, this is so relevant to what we're talking about, the subject of why weight loss is a total mind fuckite. Because she came out, I was wearing the same outfit she was wearing, the high-waisted jeans, the black tight, she had a turtleneck, I think, the hoop earrings, the flashy belt, the black boots, And I was carrying the amount of weight that I lost in my wagon, which was 20 pounds. I feel like hers was like 56 or something. I don't know, something like that. But it was the smallest she'd ever been. Everybody in the audience was just cheering away, and I mean, it was this big glory moment for her. Yeah, look at me, I did it. And she's such an idol, and she's such an icon. Like, I mean, the woman could put anything in her mouth and say that it helps you lose weight, and everybody's gonna like run, right, Josh? Yep. And go out and get it. So whatever she endorses is huge. So at the time, the company that how she lost her weight was Optifast. Is that right, Josh? I think Optifast. And it was the company that had the shakes and the bars. I think it's still in business. Today, they probably have a lot more products. They probably have like soups and stuff. So that's how she lost the weight. Well, if you search in YouTube, Oprah admitting that she was starving herself while doing Optifast, you're going to pull up a whole nother story. And I really respect Oprah Winfrey for coming clean on this, because I think that it was false advertisement. All these people watching the show, Optifast ended up, becoming really, really rich from it. And all these people thinking that they're going to look their best and they're going to lose as much weight as Oprah Winfrey lost, which was in a short window, drinking these shakes and eating these bars. So Oprah Winfrey admitted that she wasn't even consuming the calories that were prescribed, which I believe was 900, that some days she would barely consume 600, which is definitely starvation. So I was very pleased to hear the interview. Although I love to hear success stories about how people lose weight the right way and keep it off. But unfortunately, those stories are so rare, and especially when somebody is shouting it from the rooftops about how quickly it happened. Generally, there is a backstory, like there was for Oprah Winfrey. So very disappointing for so many people when they found out that, again, it's a fad diet for a reason. It's not sustainable long term. You can neither sustain 600 calories a day nor sustain 900 calories a day for the rest of your life. So in my opinion, just because I have over 20 years of experience and I personally have maintained my weight for over 20 years, I'm to the point where if I wasn't at my goal weight, I would not spend another minute on fad diets, because of seeing these people yo-yo up and down and up and down and up and down. And what it really does is it really screws your metabolism up, almost to the point where when you finally find something that works, maybe Melfit, it's hard to get your body to respond right away. Sometimes it takes a few weeks because you have screwed your metabolism up so much through all these various things that your body, it just really doesn't know what are you doing? Are you starving us? Are you binge eating? Are you like, what is it that you're doing? Like your body's job is to keep you alive and respond to the changes that you're making. But after time, I think that it's just confused. And I kind of feel that way about artificial sweeteners. I think that eventually I think your body just recognizes it as a sugar, and that's why a lot of people who consume artificial sweeteners in, say, Diet Coke are overweight. Because I think, and the reason that I can say this is because I felt like when I owned a coffee stand for 13 years, I was just totally addicted to the artificial sweeteners. I was doing 3 coffees a day. I'd start out with a quad and then a triple, then a double, all with artificial sweetener. That was when I was my heaviest. So I really felt like that after a while, my body just calculated it in sugar and then turned it to fat, and I gained weight. So that was my own personal experience. A lot of clients that I've worked with also reporting, major amounts of Diet Coke, thinking that they're going to curb their appetite and end up actually putting on a lot of weight. So health and fitness is a billion-dollar industry. And the real question is, why are there so many pills, potions, lotions, and now shots? Whatever happened to the good old-fashioned way of, just eating right and exercising? Well, America has gotten to the point of, instant satisfaction, and everybody wants the quickest results possible. So it's so easy to fall into the appetite suppressants or the liquid golds or the supposed shots, which I've worked with a lot of people that are taking these newer shots, and they really, from what they're reporting to me, they don't really seem to help. I don't know. I almost think it's kind of psychological, but of course, the reason that there's more and more and more pills and quick fixes is because that's what America is really running to. Like, the percentage of people that are actually ready to roll their sleeves up and do it the hard way is diminishing. Okay, so back to why weight loss is a total mind kite. I want to tell you a couple of stories about my assistant Josh, and I've mentioned this before. The hardest thing for me coaching men, women, and teenagers is that 99.9% of the clients that I coach aren't eating enough. Well, everybody said, well, how can they be overweight if they're not eating enough? Well, because they're not eating the right foods, for one, and that's making them unhealthy. So that is the hardest thing for me, to get people to actually start eating. So I'll take someone who on their questionnaire says they're eating 2,500 calories a day. I'll give them approximately 1,500 calories a day, and they can't even get it all in. And the difference between the calories is the quality of the food. Melfit is whole foods, and they were consuming processed foods. So the quantity and the volume of whole foods is so much larger than processed foods. Like, you could look at a food log with 1,500 calories and it could have 3 meals, a snack, and dessert. You could look at a food log with processed foods and you could see like a piece of pizza, a donut, maybe something else. I'm talking about you again, Josh, by the way. So going back to Josh, every time Josh really has true success is when he actually eats. And although we've worked together for a while, and although Josh trusts me, it's so mental. And I asked, and this is where the title comes, Josh, because I asked you one day and you said it's just a total mind kite. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I never forgot that, because I thought this is so true, and I think so many people listening or watching can relate to the fact that it's just, he trusts me, he knows what to do, you guys know what to do, and everybody says that, well, I know what to do. And a lot of people are snarky with me when they say that, because they're pissed off at themselves, not me. But why do we always fall back into starving our bodies? So every time Josh has a significant weight loss, 5.5 pounds in a week, 3.5 pounds in a week, I always say, oh, so what did you do differently? And he always answers, what, Josh? I ate. So it's like, it seems so simple, you guys, right? So same as my story. Why was I unsuccessful and overweight, on and off throughout my life? And it was a period of when I was 19, I lost it, and then again when I was about 27. So for my story, it's not like I was overweight for like all of my childhood or all of my adult. Mine was definitely high, low. So a little bit of yo-yo dieting. But I mean, I've experienced starvation, bulimia. You eat something and you stick your finger down your throat because you feel so guilty about it. Failing, and then also just binge eating where you just don't give a crap and nothing's working. So, why not just binge eat? So, hopefully somebody listening and watching this can relate to what causes us to run towards pills, potions, lotions, and shots is the frustration of all of the things that we're doing and that aren't working. And what happens when you starve yourself, especially when you get older? A, you screw your metabolism up. B, generally your body stores body fat. And C, when you're older, your skin, when you lose weight from starvation, like I can always tell somebody who has, followed a good nutrition plan with a good amount of strength training, and they've done it the right way, they look healthy. And I can tell people, can't you too, Josh? You can tell people who have just basically stopped eating. Like, they look gaunt, they look emaciated, they look like they starved themselves, and their skin takes on a whole nother being of itself. Like, it's just kind of, if you're older especially, it just kind of hangs on you, and it does not look good at all. So I guess for me, the look of fullness is what I strive for, and what I strive for my clients. And I want them to feel proud of how they lost their weight. I mean, whenever you talk to somebody who has clearly starved themselves, they don't want to talk about it, right, Josh? They're not really proud of it because they know what they did was wrong, and they know that they're going to have to face the repercussions of starving themselves, because there's a fine line. Because are they going to starve themselves? It's not sustainable long term, and they know it. So every day they're in a constant panic, and unfortunately it can push you into a state of anorexia, and if that gets out of hand, that can lead to death. So you can really get sucked into a really crazy hurricane when you decide that in order to lose weight you're just going to stop eating. It's really hard to reverse diet out of starvation, and the response that your body is going to have is, it's so happy that you're eating, you're going to put on weight real quick, probably too fast, and you're going to end up putting on generally more than you lost. So does the food you eat matter, like the quality of the food? I would say 100% yes. Josh, what would you say?
Yes.
Josh says yes. So I had a client come this morning, and she was saying that she does this run. If you're listening, you know who you are. She does this run, and she knows she does it in 18 minutes or less, and she hasn't done it in a while, and she's only been on Melfit for a couple weeks with the strength training workouts and the whole foods, and she said she really surprised herself. She was still able to accomplish the run. She felt good, and her time was really good, and she attributed that to the food. And I said, it really is the food. I mean, do you notice how your energy levels are eating real food, Josh? Mm-hmm. Whole food in comparison to processed foods? I don't know. It's just killing you. It's just making you sick. So I think that I'll talk to a lot of people, and they'll say, oh, I need to check with my doctor before I work with you. What doctor would not recommend a anti-inflammatory, gluten-free, dairy-free, no processed sugar nutrition plan. What person in the world could not benefit from MelFit, right, Josh? Like, what doctor is going to say, nope, I don't think you should do that? I mean, come on, like, it's the way to go. Of course, you have your free day, and I don't expect, like, perfection. Go for good, not perfection, for the rest of your life. But for the most part, if that's what you're consuming, you're gonna look like you're eating healthy. So here's a question. Is the health and fitness industry like the drug administration? What do you think, Josh?
That's a tough one.
So it's kind of like, do most people think there's a cure for cancer? I do. And I feel like it's not being revealed, because if it's revealed, what happens, Josh?
Stop making money.
Yeah, because everybody's not sick and they're not paying for all the chemotherapy. That is IMO, in my opinion. If you don't agree, that's your opinion, but that's how I feel. So is the health and fitness industry like the drug administration? I feel like the comparison and the analogy is spot on. Do they want us to know how to lose weight, Josh?
Probably not.
No, they do not want you to know how to lose weight. They want you to continue to run towards every fad diet, shiny object, potion, pill, lotion, and now shot. They're not teaching what I'm teaching. Do you agree, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are teaching you to pop a pill. Like, do you want to be on a pill for the rest of your life? Okay. So them not teaching us, how to lose weight and keep it off forever is keeping their pockets fat, right? It's padding their pockets. They're, they're like a bear in the winter, man. They're living high on the hog because of all of the illness of the world. I'm going to get into the next podcast. I think I'm going to talk about the percentages of obese and overweight. It'll blow your mind. Josh and I were talking about the percentage of people who stuck to their New Year's resolution, and it's 9%. And wasn't most of them done by March?
Yep, 80%.
Oh, 80% were done by March. So, yeah, I really feel like knowledge is power. And if you're listening or watching this and you are struggling, the reason that you're struggling is because you literally have to go out and find and seek this information out for yourself, because they're not advertising it, right? Mm-hmm. They're advertising everything else, keto and all these quick fix things that aren't sustainable long term. Everybody always asks me, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And the question I will ask is, can you stick to that for the rest of your life? No, I mean, I could probably do it for like a month or two, but no. Well, then why bother? Like, why keep wasting your time on something that is not sustainable long term, like MelFit? MelFit is a lifestyle. So here's the question. If you've tried everything else, what prevents you from actually eating? Like, why does that scare you to actually eat whole foods? If you've tried other things and you failed, why is it so bad to try to eat whole foods, even if you think you're going to fail? Can you answer that, Josh?
No.
Is it back to the question because it's a total mind fuckite?
That's what I was kind of
okay.
thinking.
But I'm going to guarantee 100% that if you try eating whole foods, living a healthy lifestyle, having either a 90-10 or even an 80-20 balance in your life, you're going to be in a better spot, right, Josh?
Yeah.
And you're going to lose weight. But it's like, I think that society is so scared and ruined, especially when I talk to anybody like over 40. Like in our consultation, it's always the same song and dance, and I was the same way. Oh my gosh, I've tried keto, I lost 20 pounds and I gained back 30. Like, it's the same. If I could record the first 5 minutes of all my consults, they're almost verbatim exactly the same. So there's such a huge percentage of society who's tried everything under the sun and it's not working, but yet people are afraid to try the right way. I think it's almost like people think it's gimmicky, right, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no way, really? Doing it the right way, eating whole foods and exercising, what I've been missing? And maybe people think it's the hard way. Do you think that's what it is? It's not hard, is it, Josh? It's actually pretty enjoyable. Most people love a lot of people like, I mean, what a great hobby to work on being your best self. So
I think it might be the expense too.
Why would it be expensive?
Well, they think it's more expensive.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's not.
Eating whole foods?
Yeah.
Well, I've proved that.
Exactly.
Especially pre-COVID. I mean, post-COVID is a little different now, but pre-COVID we were like $250 to $350 a meal. So you can't beat that. So I don't know. Also, just being able to control, everything that even if you don't know anything about cancer, it's all from the food and from environmental toxins. All these things just, they don't help matters of your health. And sugar feeds cancer. We've all heard that, right? So living a healthy lifestyle is going to help you with your health, that's for sure. So weight loss versus fat loss, I wrote on my paper. And what's the difference? Well, for people that have quite a bit of weight to lose, you're going to lose a lot of scale weight in the beginning. Could be some inflammation, could be some water weight. Then when you get pretty close to your goal weight, you're more focusing on body composition and fat loss. You might find, for instance, if you had an in-body scale like I do, and you have 50 pounds to lose, you probably are less likely to see, have you noticed that, Josh? Like in the beginning, you're not going to see a ton of fat loss until you get the weight off. Does that make sense, Josh? You kind of understand that? So your body's job is to keep you alive. I got to keep just reiterating this to people as to why starvation doesn't work. It just goes against everything that your body, knows to do for you. So if you don't eat food, you're not going to lose body fat. If you don't eat, does that make sense? A lot of people, if you could get on my in-body scale, if you don't eat, and let's say you're wanting to lose 5% body fat, if you don't eat, you think that you're going to lower your body fat. You actually, if you were able to use my in-body scale, your body is stressed out. So it raises your cortisol levels, and it's the exact opposite. You would scam thinking, oh, I dropped my calories down to 900. Surely my body fat has gone down. And it is the exact opposite. It actually will raise your body fat. So if you're getting down to a level of body composition, you're not doing yourself any favors by skipping that meal. If anything, you just have to be even more diligent about staying on top of all of your meals. And generally, these types of people, myself included, are pretty active, and they're doing 5 strength training workouts a week. They're getting a lot of steps every day. They're active on their rest days, so they definitely need to start to accept that food is fuel, and the more that they stay on top of eating and not have these long periods of fasting, the better they're going to look. So, question is, what if you started getting your mind right? And if you've gone through my 8-week Just Start plan, that's kind of what we talk. I can tell people when they first start, they can tend to be a little bit negative, and I'm very positive. So starting with journaling and just getting your mindset is probably the most important thing you can do. Would you agree, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's such a huge part of it. Like, you can't expect to have results when you're negative and you're already telling yourself, more than likely I'm going to fail. More than likely this isn't going to work. If you have that attitude, more than likely you're probably right. If you think it's going to suck, it's going to suck. If you think it's going to be great, it's going to be great. So just getting your mind right is definitely super important. And I understand that a lot of people have been ruined from their past, but if it's important to you, it's something that's always on your mind. It's something that you think about every day, and basically, if you can't stop thinking about it, it's worth trying something new. You have nothing to lose but unwanted body fat and weight. So the one thing that I try to do is just give people like realistic kind of bullet points about how could this hurt you. Okay, so are whole foods good for you? Let's ask Josh these questions. Josh, are whole foods good for you?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I'm asking you too, so you can be answering these. So is exercise good for you?
Yep.
Is sleep good for you?
Absolutely.
Is water good for you?
Yes.
Is eliminating dairy, gluten, and processed sugar good for you?
Yep.
Is having accountability good for you?
100%.
Huge game changer. I had somebody text me today and ask me, they're done with the 12-week boot camp. You know who you are if you're listening to this. It actually happens to me all the time. And they asked, I'm going to do another round. Should I go it alone? Well, my answer was, we're all food addicts, including myself. And if I was in, like almost like an AA for food, and I was in remission for a month, would my coach have Josh pick me up and bring me to a donut shop? Like, right? Wouldn't my coach put me in like a halfway house without the temptation of donuts around, and then see how I do there for like a month, and then maybe set me free into the real world? So like, it's baby step. We're never cured. You're never ever going to be cured of food addiction. Something could set you off. Something right here in front of me could set me off and trigger me. And you have to know your trigger foods. If you know your trigger foods, don't even have them in your house. Because have you ever had that happen, Josh, where you just can't stop thinking about it and you keep picking at it? So the question is, no, you're a food addict, and this person wasn't even at her goal weight yet. So I really don't even think she had any business asking. Like, this is a process. You lose the weight, you stay. I've been in maintenance for over 20 years. Like, if you don't have some significant amount of food addict recovery on your belt, then I don't think you have any business trying to break up with your accountability coach. So accountability is so good for you. Josh, is learning the right way good for you?
Yeah.
Like, if you hadn't have met me, what do you think where do you think you'd be? What do you think you'd be doing? Do you think you'd still be just starving yourself?
Probably.
How long would you do that before you like got frustrated?
I don't know.
So, is stopping yo-yo dieting good for you?
Yes.
is not having the fear the weight will come back good for you?
Yes.
Is learning to read labels good for you? And knowing, walking into a store with confidence, knowing that marinara that you bought is Melfit approved, like, doesn't that give you confidence?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So after that, like, I guess the moral of my story is all of these things cannot hurt you. Like, the fear that you all have, nothing here can hurt you. It's all safe. Kind of like I talk about, when I was in my early 20s, I had a real bat with alcohol and I was drinking and driving, and I probably could have killed myself and someone else. Like, when I go downstairs, when I used to go to my brick and mortar studio, like, no one's gonna die. I'm not intoxicated. I'm not gonna head on someone on the street. Like, it's totally safe, right, Josh? Like, if anything, it's only going to help me and everybody around me, right? Because I'm a better person. So it's very safe. And the other things I talked about before, the shots, the pills, the potions, that's very unsafe. So everything that I stand for is safe. I'm just teaching you the safest route possible for you to find your way back home. If you're listening to this or you're watching this and you've been lost, this is the safest way back home. After that, weight loss occurs, fat loss occurs, more energy occurs, better sex drive, your clothes fit better, you lose inches, your skin looks better, your sleep is better, your relationships are better, your confidence is better. Anything else I left out, Josh? Like, there's just so many good things that come from actually, learning the right way. So, I'm reading my notes here. Oh, okay. All right. So one thing I wrote at the end is, and then, my friends, the mind fuckite has been buried. Like, when you go through the process of Melfit, you lose the weight, you maintain the weight, you figure out how to have a healthy lifestyle, you fail, you succeed, you fail, you succeed, and you never give up. Then the fuckite mindset, the mind fuckite has been buried, and we killed it. Is your mic on, Josh?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We killed it once and for all. Okay. So Josh is still going through his journey. So Josh, what would that mean to you? First of all, have we killed the mind fuckite for you once and for all, or are you still going through the process?
I'm still at like the 50 part.
Okay. What would it mean to you to never have the mind fuckite again?
You don't even know.
Like, don't you think it is the key? Like, it's the pot of gold. It's like, I'm trying to think of a really strong word. It's like, I don't know. It's like the ultimate, probably the ultimate way for you to feel 100% confident and successful is to never have the mind fuckite again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting there, you guys. It's a process. And one thing I always tell people, as quickly as you want to get the weight off, if you have a significant amount of weight to lose, you have to really consider how long it took you to gain it, So have realistic goals. And if your mindset is good, you'll get there easy. Like, Josh, if you were worried about how long it took you, what would that do to you? Like, if you were worried about when you were going to get there, what would that do to you?
I think it would be harder to, well, it'd be easier if you knew when you'd get there, but you know what I mean.
It'd be harder because you'd be putting pressure on yourself.
Exactly. It'd be easier when you know it, but it'd be harder because you want to pressure yourself so much to get there.
So, you don't have anxiety about the future, correct?
No.
You just take each day as it comes, correct?
Yeah.
And you're happy about the positive and healthy changes you've made. And don't you think that that lowers your cortisol levels and helps you have better success?
Yeah.
Don't you think that when you're worried about weight loss, it never happens?
100%.
Isn't it bizarre?
Yeah.
Like when you're least worried about it, like Josh will waltz in and then all of a sudden we get this almost 4-pound weight loss. And aren't you just kind of like,
Yeah.
And I've said this so many times before, and you can probably attest to this, Josh. The weeks that you have that because you were spot on your eating, spot on your steps, and spot on your workouts, don't you kind of feel like you knew it was going to happen? And almost like a little cocky, like, well, of course I lost weight. I did everything right? And then the other weeks when it doesn't happen, you have the mind fuckite where you're like, damn it, why do I always go back to starving myself? Right? Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, my hopes for Josh and everybody listening is that you guys will find what I've found, which is, no mind fuckite ever, and just 100% confidence and conviction that I'm never going to gain my weight back, and ultimately finding joy in not feeling like joy in the lifestyle and not feeling like this is a punishment. Like, if you don't enjoy the journey, you'll never get to the destination, right, Josh? So do you feel like you're truly enjoying the journey? Yeah, of starting to work out. And also, I think for Josh, he's very selfless. And I think that when I've seen you struggle the most, Josh, is when you were putting everybody else first, right?
Yeah.
And yourself last. So how does it feel putting yourself first? And do you feel selfish anymore?
At the beginning, it didn't feel right, but now I'm better for it, and it feels great.
That's cool. And do you think the people that are in your life, that, your friends and family that love you, do you think they see a shift in you taking care of yourself?
I believe so.
Like they notice that, So with that being said, those people would never, ever try to take that away from you, right? So the reason that I mention that, because I think that there's so many, there could be moms watching, dads watching, anybody watching. And I think that what prevents a lot of people from starting is because they are selfless and they take care of everybody else. So they constantly feel like, I can't actually do anything for myself, right? Because it would take away from helping everybody. But really, you're taking away from helping everybody because you don't feel good about you.
Yeah.
And people can sense that you're not happy and that you don't have self-confidence. So I think at the end of the day, if you really took a hard look at yourself, your life, and the people around you, the people that are worth being in your life are the people that want it for you more than you want it for yourself, right? So my hopes for anybody listening and watching is that you, if you haven't started on your health and fitness journey, that you would want it for yourself, and that you would realize that knowledge is power. The big pharma companies and, this industry, they're not exposing the truth. I'm exposing the truth. The truth is, you don't have to starve yourself. The truth is, you don't have to pop a pill. The truth is that you can actually fill your body with whole foods and start to move your body and cure almost every illness, almost all autoimmune diseases, reverse type 2 diabetes, get off your high cholesterol meds, get off your blood pressure meds, and all these different, anti-anxiety and sleeping pills can all be reduced or eliminated through basically what we put in our bodies every day. So where are we at, Josh? 44?
Yep.
Spot on. So this was a good one. This is one I've been wanting to talk about ever since Josh I said, what is the deal? What is the disconnect? What is it with you? And he's like, I don't know. It's a total mind, fuckite. And Mom, if you're listening, I just would like you to give me some credit for cleaning up my potty mouth. So it's been great talking to you guys today, and I hope that you moved your body while listening to this. And make sure that you like, subscribe, and share the show. And if you feel so inclined, leave us a review, and we'll chat with you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.